This outfit has become one of my favorites, so if you see it too often here, I'm sorry. Hello worlds, what's up? I hope you're good. So today we're here to talk about all the series I finished in 2020. I feel like we don't talk enough about them. We talk about the books we need to get to, the series we need to finish, the series we need to get to, blah blah blah, but never about what we have actually finished. And I feel like it's gonna make me feel to actually realize that I finished some series yesterday, last year. So let's just talk about all the series I finished. Okay, this is starting very weirdly because for the first one I'm gonna actually cheat. I was supposed to put that book at the end of that video, but I want to put it first because you know you need to read it. I mean, Every Heart a Doorway, so the Wayward Children series by Shannon Maguire, is not over, but so far I've read all 6 books. So yes, I already finished the book that was released in 2021. We are only getting 3 more books, if I remember well, 3 or 4. So I'm over the moon. But yeah, so you need to read that series. I mean, this is a fantasy. This is a portal fantasy with kids who one day found their door to the perfect world that was made for them. They got back to reality and they cannot deal with it. Like, they need to get back there. And this is a feeling I absolutely understand. Like, if I had one day visited my perfect world, I would never want to come back here. So yeah, it's not a series I finished, but I'm up to date with that series. So read it, like seriously read it, wolves. We're starting with a few duology, I feel. Yeah, a couple. So this one is Even the Darker Stars and the sequel is All the Wandering Light. This is a polar fantasy, so yeah, wintry setting. It is the story of Kamzen here who wants to be a royal explorer, but she cannot because her sister is actually older and she's gonna do what Kamzen wants to do. But one day the best royal explorer is gonna visit their village. That person's gonna ask for Kamzen to go to the mountains to actually find something. Absolutely perfection. And there is a little fox. There are dragons, tiny dragons, used in a different way than in other books. It was absolutely magical, and it is a duology, wolves, so no excuses. If you want to read it, is this a recommendation video or series I finished? Both. Yeah, loved it. I'm definitely gonna reread it. Another duology and very short ones this time, so Grace and Fury, and the sequel is actually Queen of Ruin and has a blue cover. I love the first one because feminism and, you know, wanting the society to change because you don't especially want to do what they expect from women, etc. And they live like in some kind of, I don't want to say dystopian word, but I don't know, there is something between the people who were chosen, the people who were not chosen, and there is a prison for women, and you know, there is some kind of rebellion, etc, etc. I really enjoyed the first one. I enjoyed the second one less. I was bored the whole time. I don't know if I gave it 2 stars or 3, but I finished it, a duology about feminism and women in power. Then a trilogy, so Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. I gave the 3 books in that trilogy 3 stars. I feel like it is an average kind of YA fantasy book series, like very tropey, but at the same time I enjoyed it. Nothing was really wrong with it, but nothing was like fabulous. Basically, you have the main character, what's her name again? Theodosia, aka Theo, who actually lives in her hometown, in her palace, with the guy who came one day and killed everyone she knew, and he uses her as some kind of toy to play around with, but also to show people, yeah, look what I did. I destroyed everything and now she lives with me, she respects me, and she does what I want her to do, but she is constantly reminded that she's some kind of slave there, or like a jewels. So I absolutely love the concept of it. There is like some kind of rebellion going on under it. Like the turn it took wasn't what I wanted it to be, but it was like an okay series. I had a fun time reading that series, and the covers, they're all to die for. So Ash Princess. A Natural History of Dragons by Mary Brennan. So 2 years ago I read that one. Last year I read the 4 next books in the series, and the beginning of this year I read like the companion novel to it, so I'm definitely done with that series. I cannot wait to read more by that author because this series was absolutely amazing, and I'm scared that the rest is not going to be as good as this one, according to my own opinion, because we all love different things. But basically you have a woman, this is a memoir by the way, so it has a different tone, and if you want to know, Lady Trent actually is writing her own memoirs, and sometimes she's gonna be like, yeah, you know, I'm an old lady, I can be sassy, I can do whatever I want, I'm old, you cannot do anything anymore, blah blah blah. But she tells us her story about the fact that she wanted to be a dragon naturalist when she was younger, but living in that kind of society where women are only there to bear children, to clean the house and blah blah blah, she was not really allowed to do that. Not that her family didn't allow her to have fun with it, but they were like, one day you're gonna have to marry, you're gonna have to change your mind or whatever. And she's not about that, but she's gonna go to a museum and she's gonna find her future husband who's gonna allow her to actually be herself, who's gonna help her. And I absolutely love that, seeing her becoming that powerful woman. I really enjoyed it. It's full of adventures, but it's like full of adventures but at the same time slow, because it is a memoir, so it's really weird to explain. I'm gonna have a hard time explaining it, but I loved everything about these books. And if you don't want to read them, the audiobooks on script are just amazing. The voices, perfect. So I highly recommend them. And actually I listened to all the audiobooks while reading the book because they were so good. So yep, definitely one of my all-time favorite series. Finally, we're getting into sci-fi. So I finished a lifelike series by J. Christoph. So the second one is Deviate and the third one is True Life. I give this one, I believe, 4 stars. Then the second one, 3 stars. And the last one, 5 stars. Because I don't think the last one was actually better than the first one or the second one. But it's just that I got to know the character so much. I got attached to them so much. I could tell who was actually talking by just seeing the sentences and didn't need the explanation or whatever. So I really cared about everything that was happening. So that's why it was like 5 stars, because I almost cried, I was mad, I was like stressed, at the edge, etc. I was really like into the story. I really enjoyed that ending and everything. So this is basically a sci-fi retelling of Anastasia, one of my all-time favorite retelling as well, like Anastasia, anything Anastasia, I'm here for it, like Romanov, etc. Love it. So basically you have Eve, who is like 17 years old, and she has some kind of like robot or whatever she uses for fight in order to win money to buy medication for her grandfather. Her robot's gonna get destroyed, trashed. So she's gonna go to the trash, like where there is trash. Oh my gosh, I lost myself. And she's gonna find a perfect robot, like the last generation, like super smart, etc, etc. And that's the beginning of everything. And just loved it. I loved it so much. While we are talking about J. Christoph, I also finished Nevernight series. I didn't like it. Like, that's a series I really didn't like it. Okay, so I give Nevernight 3 stars, God's Crave 4 stars, and Dark Dawn 2 stars. So I actually have a problem with assassins. So the first one was all about becoming an assassin and I actually hated it. But I loved the footnotes, I loved the dark notes, I love J. Christoph's writing style, I love Mr. Canley. I loved everything about the book except the fact that it was assassin, and as it was assassins heavy, I didn't enjoy it. Then in the second book I actually enjoyed it more because it was less about becoming an assassin but just acting as one, if that makes any sense. And the last one I got absolutely bored, I didn't care about anything, so that's telling you how I felt about that series. But I'm still well aware that it is a fantastic series, just not for me. So yep. Then another series I finished last year, yes, in December. It was the Winter Night series, so by Catherine Arden. So this one is the first one, The Bear and the Nightingale, and I actually gave them all 5 stars. I even cried in the third one. This is just a fantastic adult fantasy. It is Russian folklore heavy. I really love that. You know, I have something with anything Slavic because I'm Bosnian and Slovenian. I grew up with some of the Russian folklore, you know, stories kind of thing. I've always been fascinated by Russia in general. That's also why I read a lot of Anastasia retelling, the Romanov, etc., because I just love that history. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. This is not for everyone because first, it is adult. Don't believe what is written on Goodreads saying that it is a YA. It is adult. There is no doubt about that. It is also happening not in the best time for women, and it's dark. I want to say that story is dark, and basically you have the main character who's torn between the old gods and the new ones that her stepmother kind of brought in to the story, whatever. But it's about so much more than that, and I actually would definitely recommend that series to a lot of you. I know not all of you will enjoy it, but I will still recommend it to as many people as possible. So, and the paperback, if you want the paperback like floppier than that. Then here I have a last series I would like to show you, but I'm not sure it's actually done, and I really hope it's not over. It is Twice Dead, so that's the first one, and this is Trinity of Bones, the second one, and I believe the series is the Necromancer's Song series, like the name of the series, by Caitlin Seal. Absolutely love these books. They were both 5 stars, underrated, no one is talking about them, and I don't know why. Basically, you have the main character who lives with her father on a boat because he's some kind of merchant going from one place to another, and one day he's gonna give her some kind of mission, and she's gonna be like so happy. Yes, my dad gave me a mission, I'm gonna make it happen, it's gonna be amazing, blah blah blah. And she's like walking in the street, something happens, and she wakes up dead. Actually, she died, got brought back as some kind of ghost, and she doesn't understand what happened. And the ghosts here are not something that are like not normal, but they're not always allowed. Like, it's not always allowed to bring back dead people depending on where you live, and it's political heavy. There's so much more to it than being a ghost. It's not like ghosts in every single story, because necromancy, there are things she needs to do, there are things she wants to do, and it's amazing. I loved it. It's political heavy. I love all the characters. I loved everything that was happening. I was like eating the words. It's not like a chunky series, so I'm like, why don't you read it, Wolves? Like, this is my underrated recommendation for you. Like, read the Wayward Children series and then this one, like one of my favorite stories. And I really need the third one. I mean, I hope there is gonna be a third one. I really hope so, but I don't know. But yeah, well, these are all the series I finished in 2020. Let me know if you finished the series recently this year or last year. That's absolutely. But yeah, I will be curious to know which one it was. But yeah, well, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to be a part of the pack. Talk to me in the comment section as usual. And until next time, take care, wolves. Bye.